God gave us a Sabbath day for rest, but labor gave us two. If it were not for the hard work of the labor movement, we would still be working 6 days a week with no caps on hours. But thank God and the movement for giving us 40 hours work week of a work week. 40 hours, that's a full week, folks. We don't have to go 90. And weekends off. So now we have to remember to take those days. We need to remember to rest because all of us need it. And also work to ensure that everyone receives those same benefits. As the Reverend Terry LePage mentioned in her sermon, we support an organization called Clergy and Lady United for Economic Justice, CLUE. I have long been a part of this organization, one of the early founders here in Orange County, just under 20 years ago. And that's afforded me the opportunity to work with incredible leaders in our community. I'm very excited this morning to get to introduce you to Sylvia Hernandez and to also welcome one of our own members and our MYP staff member, Dustin Nguyen, who has gotten involved with CLUE and has also worked on queer organizing with the organization. And as you may or may not know, in addition to his work in ministry, he's also an actor. He has a unique role as a voiceover actor, and he's going to tell us more about that, as well as address a very interesting and important labor issue in his field and many, the use of AI, artificial intelligence, and in his case, how it affects workers like him. But first I want to introduce you to Sylvia, whose bio is so impressive. Sit down because you have such a long bio. No, you can sing it out. She hails from Oaxaca. She studied education at Benemérita Escuela Nacional de Maestros and pedagogy at la Universidad Autónoma de México in Mexico City. And she says that coming to the United States was a stark contrast, starting from zero by cleaning houses and babysitting and doing other basic skills jobs. She became a receptionist at SEIU, Local 1877, and worked her way up to become an organizer for janitors right here in Orange County. Community is very important for her. She was one of the founders of Centro Cultural de Mexico in Santa Ana. You might be familiar with it. She helped to strengthen the community. It helps with getting back to those core cultural values, which are so important. She's kept herself actively involved in community organizing with different organizations, has had roles like the president of the Board of Cooperation in Santa Ana. She's helped to develop other cooperativas here in the county, like the mobile car clean wash. First, she did it here in 2020, but she was a part of it in Los Angeles, which got a lot of press. She's a member of the Esperanza Tenants Union, which means hope, and helps to inform folks of their tenant rights, which is so important, advocates for better regulations like rent control in Santa Ana. She did that work in 2022. She's continued to work with Santa Ana Building Healthy Communities, which is now called Community Hub. And she is a member and organizer of Nuestros Manos, a group of domestic workers in Orange County, and she's part of the Domestic Workers Coalition, also does Know Your Rights training. So as you can see, this is a woman who is very busy, working hard, and she works as an organizer professionally, or I guess everything's professional in this way, but she is she's an organizer. And part of her formal work is to help prevent injuries, illnesses, and deaths that are preventable in the workplace and advocating for that. She just does so much in the realm of justice and a perfect gift for us this morning. We're here to listen to what you're doing. She's actively working right now to try to pass SB 1350 for domestic workers in California, and to get indoor heat protection for all workers. So I think we'll hear a little about that. And we're just so thrilled to have you. So welcome, Sylvia. Bienvenidos a nuestra iglesia. Gracias por venir y talk to us. Tell us.
Buenos dias. Good morning. Thank you for this warm welcoming. As Rev. Sarah said, my name is Sylvia Hernandez, and I am originally from Oaxaca. Since the early 90s, mostly in Santana, I've been living and organizing, I think since I was very little, like a child. I went with my grandpa and my parents to talk to my neighbors. We always organize ourselves to resolve any issues in the community. So since I understood that the word organize and organizes is the key word to resolve anything that any situations that we have in the community, we get together and we do tequio, something that we call tequio. And tequio is something, it's to work for all, for everyone. It's not just working for yourself. It's not an individual thing to do, but it's a community gathering where we work voluntary, but it's part of your values. So well-being is for everyone in the community. To me, where I come from, the idea of well-being is conceived by understanding that if my community is well, my family will be well, and then I will be well too. So it's in the opposite. It was very strange, I would say, when I came here, and everything, it was kind of individual. I'm gonna get anything for me, then for my family, and then if I have time, I will work with the community. To me, it's the opposite. I need to take care of my community, and that environment, it will assure that my family is gonna be okay, and I am gonna be great, doing great. So I left my town at the age of 10 years old because there's no more school over there at that time. And I went to Mexico City to study, and I became a teacher at the age of 18. And I went to work with the poorest people in the city. So I participated in movements for the change in favor of fair wages for us, the workers. Then I developed my deep vocation as an organizer. And I understood that I was going to do organizing wherever I go. Life brought me here to the United States, and continued doing that. At the very beginning, at the first day, I went to talk to the Sisters of St. Joseph. They were developing a curriculum for literacy for workers. So I was volunteering the work over there. And I think throughout my more than 50 years working, I have learned and I've been guided for everyone who touched my life in these many years. Everyone, I have this attitude that nobody knows more than you, that everyone knows different things. And when you meet someone, you get to learn what that person knows, because he or she, or they can be in a different road that you have been. So you just exchange your knowledge. And so I am always open trying to learn from someone new. And I've been meeting a lot of people, very good people here in this country. I respect the very different points of view than mine. As a worker, I believe that work dignifies the human being. My grandpa used to say that you have to respect yourself and have dignity. So a decent job with a decent payment for each one of us, the workers, can put food on our tables and we can have a roof over our heads, a safe roof. We all can be well and give, including education, to our children. Today, we commemorate the fact that in 1894, Congress decreed the first Monday of September as a federal holiday, the same one that the first American unions had proposed to create since 1882. It took many years to create and recognize the contribution of workers to the country. I want to express that we all deserve dignity and respect as workers, regardless our race, our color, our identity, economic income, cultural origin, but only we deserve that because we are human beings. I try to follow Jesus, the Son of God, as my mentor, because I like to think that of him that he is a great organizer. He had us today all and every time that others need us. So he makes us wonder how we will solve our daily challenges. He confronts us when we do not apply our values as good Christians and show us the way, listening without ignoring or following his path, without doing something first for each one of us. For me, his example is the call to take action. Every time I see an injustice, he did that. He was walking and looking every need and trying to solve. Today, in our reflection, we thank workers for all that they produce or for the services they provide us. And in our prayers goes out for a better economy and social justice for all workers. But we will ask more for those who have fewer opportunities to improve their lives. For those who have fewer laws to protect them, or less acceptance and less support to prevail and prosper. As a former domestic worker, I ask that today we put in our prayers the domestic workers who for 50 years now, when the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, was created to promote safe working conditions, investigate safety complaints, and prevent workplace injuries. All workers were included, but these type of workers, the domestic workers, the people who worked in the house, were excluded. And now they are still refusing to include them. In California, the SB 1350 is a bill that would end part of the exclusion, not all, only 175 workers. And we will ask God today that the Governor Newsom sign it and does not bet as it did in the previous 3 years of our struggle. This is the fourth time that we trying to pass a bill. As a so-called kosher organizer, soccer coaches, in soccer coach, we always believe that every injury is prevented, and we try to influence policies, decisions affecting workers' health and safety. And we support every campaign trying to do that. So as a soccer coach organizer, for all workers from all industries, I invite you to advocate for regulations to prevent heat-related deaths in indoor jobs. We already have for outdoor jobs, but now we are fighting for those who work in indoors, like the janitors, like the cooks, the warehouse workers. The janitors, for example, at the time they go to work at 6 p.m., the buildings turn off the air conditioning, and they work hard. It's a physical work, and they don't have access to water, and they don't have enough time to alleviate their conditions because they have so many workloads that they cannot have enough time to end. So we need to keep them in mind. Our state campaign recently succeeded in getting the California government to pass regulations in Cal OSHA to improve conditions for indoor workers. On June 20, Cal OSHA, they said that now we have regulation and established the safety measures required in indoor workplaces. So this rule went into effect on July 23rd, 2024. The California employers now, they must follow 4 steps. They need to train all workers and supervisors about the prevention on heat illness. They need to provide enough cool water for each employee to drink, at least a quart every hour, and encourage employees to drink water too. Encourage employees to take cooling break in the shade for at least 5 minutes. Employees should not wait until they feel sick to cool off. And they need to develop and implement written procedures to comply with Cal OSHA standards. At the national level, we are in the state of being heard, adhering to express through our testimony why regulations for protections from intense heat in indoor workplaces are urgently needed. Today, on Labor Day 2024, we ask God to grant us the grace to improve the conditions of millions of workers in need. You can all support us by following our Fight Up Heat Justice campaign organized for National COSH. Please sign the petition. I will share the online petition with Reverend Sarah so we can pass it. It takes only 30 seconds. Another important bill is SB 2027, which has passed the Senate now, but it's going to be in the Newsom's desk awaiting his signature. This week, we worked hard to ask senators to join and support. This bill is made up for over 150 organizations from across California. And the coalition works to expand safety net programs for excluded immigrant workers, such as the unemployment benefits program. Finally, I want to acknowledge this community of the United Congregational Church of Irvine that in 2011 gave us shelter to spend the nights of the hunger strike that we workers and members of the Orange County community held for immigration reform. I was one of them to spend the night here in this room. I remember very well that time. My deep gratitude for this church, because I slept under a roof under the protection of God and with my hope always alive. Today, the legalization of 8 million immigrants is possible. Registration has existed as law for more than 100 years now. But if we can update that, we can legalize 8 million immigrants. So the fight is continue, and we are tireless warriors. As workers, we need to keep fighting for fair housing, for medical services. We are excluded from many things. We don't have access. The workers, we don't have a living wage to provide everything to our families. We must continue fighting until all workers are treated with dignity and respect. Thank you for having me today.
Earlier this week, Pastor Sarah was scrambling to find someone to speak for labor in the pulpit, and I was like, boy, do I have a solution for you. Hi, my name is Dustin Nguyen. Obviously, I work here at church, but outside of church, I'm also a professional actor. I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, a labor union with approximately 160,000 members representing actors, singers, dancers, broadcast journalists, and so many other professionals in entertainment and media. After more than 18 months of contract negotiations with some of the biggest video game companies in the world, video game actors like me are on strike. The core issue boils down to AI, artificial intelligence. If the video game employers had their way, they could create a digital AI replica of me and never have to hire me or any other human actor ever again. This is an existential fight. To be clear, we're not striking to ban AI. What we demand is the right to give or revoke consent over the use of our digital replicas and to be fairly compensated for each use. The video game industry is a $300 billion industry, significantly dwarfing the movie industry. And of that, actors only receive of the money, actors only receive a drop in the bucket, despite the immense value that our performances add to games. I rebuke the rhetoric that diminishes actors, such as that of Amazon Games CEO Chris Hartman, who stated, "For games, we don't really have acting." Really? So, as I rally my troops for the final battle, knowing that this is the last time I'll be looking at some of their eyes, I guess that's not acting. As I take a punch to the face, a sword to the stomach, an arrow to the knee, I guess that's not acting. I'm thrilled to be in the pulpit today of all days because this is a rare opportunity for me to combine my two worlds, which I never get to do anywhere else. In the Bible, we have a Hebrew term, ruach, which means breath, air, spirit, life. Every living being has this ruach, this force of life emanating from them. When an actor performs, they imbue their ruach into the role, and this is what moves audiences. And AI has no ruach. It may be able to hit a correct string of pre-programmed emotions, but it will never be able to breathe life into a performance. And the Bible is on the side of economic justice for workers. Deuteronomy chapter 24, verses 14 to 15 says, "Don't oppress your workers, pay them a fair wage." Romans chapter 4, verse 4 says that a worker's salary is not a gift, it's a debt to be paid. So no more playing games. It's time for the video game employers to come to the bargaining table to negotiate a deal that provides the protection and compensation that actors deserve. We understand that this is a fight for our future. We will not let this be our game over. The actors, united, will never be defeated.
Thank you so much to our speakers, to the organization Clergy and Lady United for Economic Justice that I have worked with and many of us have as well. Now, as we continue our time, I just want to bless all of you for putting in the work, for being in church. It is work sometimes, and we're asking that of one another. But we also remember that as we work, we must be fed. I hope that you have been fed spiritually today, but I also want to invite you back to the table that Jesus has prepared for all of us, that we might remember that we have been called to work, but we have also been called to rest, to receive the sustaining grace that, as Jaime reminds us, that we are all called to receive the forgiveness that can come at the table when we lift up our own culpabilities, as we do in this nation and in our world, for all of the ways that we have inadvertently bought into injustices that affect workers worldwide. But we also come to this table knowing that God loves us for exactly who we are and redeems us so that we can redeem the world. And so it was